What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 503 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Stephen Kyle Brackey and Ben Funky Askren. How you doing, guys?
Oh, I'm doing good. Really good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Caleb, I got a crazy echo. I don't know if you know anything about that, but if you could eliminate the echo, there we go.
You got to persist under tough conditions here, Piles.
I know, but I could. But you can also eliminate the tough conditions, thus making me soft.
Soft.
How about that? I beat you to it, Ben.
Soft like LeBron James. What's up, Ricky?
Here we go.
I'm not even taking the bait.
Don't indulge.
I'm not.
Don't indulge that.
You know what?
You know what? A fellow 2008 Olympian, LeBron James. You guys are teammates, basically. And that's how you're going to treat your point. You're a bad teammate. Ben Askren's a bad teammate.
That's Olympic gold medalist. LeBron James.
Yeah, Olympic champion.
I didn't get a medal. Shit. Damn it. I still haven't watched episode 10 of The Last Dance. You know, I watched all those to catch up, and I got to go watch episode 10 at some point.
Man, definitely do that. I don't know how you made it through 9 of like the most compelling, interesting thing. You're like 10. You're like,
it was awesome.
It was really good, right? I started Lance. So Lance is interesting. It's about Lance Armstrong, the cyclist. This is interesting for a couple reasons. We're not really talking about this, but since he said Last Dance, I want to mention this.
Sure, let's go.
The big difference between those two documentaries, I'm guessing, are Michael Jordan had final say and basically editorial control over The Last Dance. Lance Armstrong clearly does not, because he's early on like pretty well trashed by a lot of people, and I'm sure it's not going to stop. Of course.
Well, I got two questions on that. Number one, do you know that Michael Jordan had editorial control? And then number two would be, is Lance did he take part in it knowing? I mean, he had to take part in it knowing people would trash him, right? I mean, that had to be kind of suspected as the outcome.
Of course, but and yeah, Michael did have some level of.
I believe that's the only reason he agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Plus, I think they paid him like $40 million.
Well, yeah.
That was another reason, but there were
that was
two big reasons for Michael.
That was probably worth it on their part.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it ended up it's probably their biggest piece of media. Although I will say, for my money, the OJ documentary is actually better. That was.
You know what? I have not watched that one.
Oh my gosh, it's so dang good.
I know.
It really is it's amazing.
Have you seen like the news stories that Scottie Pippen's not pleased with the way he has been portrayed?
Well,
really?
Yeah. Oh man. Early on I was like, dude, Scottie Pippen was a dog, but then you've got the one time he wouldn't go in the game because the play wasn't drawn for him, and Kukoc making that shot was so perfect. And then the migraine game,
which you could tell Michael did not believe he had a migraine.
No. So I can imagine, but that is the record. And also
like those things happened. They
did happen. That is an interesting thing. Like discussing things that happened are often not appreciated, or like it's still a sensitive thing. But what was most interesting to me was Pippen was talking about not going in the game or whatever, and he's like, I apologize, blah blah blah. He's like, but if I could do it all over again, I'd do the same thing. It's like, so what are you even sorry for, dude? You didn't go to the game. Yeah, you're a worse teammate than Ben Askren, who threw LeBron James under the bus.
He probably felt multiple ways about it. You know, he probably had mixed feelings on the subject, which means some reasons he feels a little apologetic. On other reasons, he realizes the outcome, so he'd do it the same way.
I don't think he should. I don't think Scottie Pippen should feel all that bad about it. I mean, I think that stuff was known. It did. Probably a large a generation of people were made aware that he didn't go in that game, that he had a migraine, the migraine game. You know that stuff's going to come up, Scotty. My wife said I like Scottie Pippen. I think he's good. While watching, she didn't know much about him, so I guess it wasn't all bad, Scotty.
Yeah.
So anyways, watch Lance. I've only through episode 1. Is fascinating.
I will watch it if ESPN does not foil me again.
It is a terrible. That app is really bad. But
you need to talk to your employers here.
Yeah, don't you kind of work for them?
Well, I think I'm 1099. I don't think I'm officially an employee.
Okay. Well, let me know when you get the full-time. I actually don't, because I don't know. They would probably be like, "Why are you doing this podcast with these guys?" That'd be bad. Man.
Yeah. Well, I think I told them I was going to talk. I mean, I told them when I went there. I'm like, well, I know you guys want me to talk about MMA. I just want to go to. I just want to do the NCAA tournament. That's all. That's all I really want to do. And I got it. And then the NCAA tournament got canceled for the first time in like 75 years. Like, terrible. Unlucky. Do you know we were going to have it in a football stadium this year, Christian? And now we're not going to get to do that.
Now we can't even have it in a wrestling room. Terrible.
Do you know how awesome that was going to be?
It was gonna be the best, and I don't want to talk about it. It's so sad.
Okay,
it's so terrible.
Go. Let's talk about the future, not the past.
That's right. Great Mark McGuire. Hey, James Green to Virginia Tech. James, I think maybe is going to come on, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, I hope so. I told people he was coming on.
Okay, well, you know, I think he's coming on.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions I'm curious, and I didn't get to watch the full beta show last night, but you know, he's not really a 74 kg guy. He's more of a 70 kg guy, and I almost feel like it's torture. Some of these guys, because the gaps are so large, but some of these 70 or 79s, you know, they're essentially forced to go one direction, which maybe doesn't all the way suit them. But then the one thing is, well, it's only 1 year. You can make the sacrifice for 1 year. Oh, surprise. It's actually 2 years. Sorry, guys.
Yep, 2 years.
It's tough.
Yeah, and he discussed that on the beta show. Like, since the quarantine, he's had a hard time keeping the weight on because he's not working out as much, which means he's not eating as much. And he's not able to, you know. It's one thing if you're, you know, about the weight you should be wrestling at. You can get a lot done with just like, you know, you can do cardio and a lot of body weight stuff, but if you're trying to add mass the right way, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure you have to lift heavy to do that and lift weights. It's going to be really hard to do, just like pull-ups, push-ups, and running and wrestling, right? So he's trying to build his body up to 74, and he's like, talked about how it's really hard for him. And he's like 167 right now, which that's not what... Think about what Godoyev probably walked around at before he made 74 kilograms and had a bloody diaper on his head. And he lost the Olympic.
Seriously.
What a visual. So, yes, going to Virginia Tech, he discussed a lot about the Pool East, his family being from the East Coast. I don't know where his wife's from, but it kind of sounded like she's from out that way as well, both sides of the family, and a lot of family in the D.C. area, so Virginia Tech a couple hours from there, and can certainly understand that pull.
Did he talk about how much longer he wants to compete? Like, is it 2024 or 2028? Is it he's done and he wants to coach?
Can you imagine if he said, "I'm going through 28"? I'd be like, wow, you know
that's what Kyle Snyder says. I mean, Kyle Snyder says like 4 Olympic cycles, so that would actually be 16, 20, 24. Yeah, 28. Crazy.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow. It's presumptuous, right? You're assuming a lot about what your body's going to do. And So, well, James, he was saying like he's not going to be done. It didn't sound like he'd be done after 2021. He's like, I'll go back. He's like, I haven't decided for sure, but right now I feel like I would go back down to 70 and just go up for the Olympic years, which to me sounds like not done anytime soon.
Yeah. I agree. What do you guys think about the training situation with Mikhail Lewis? I mean, I think that's pretty interesting. You know, I think he's kind of one cycle away from being a top contender. Obviously, he did shock us all in winning an NCAA title as a freshman. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I got to assume that helps Mikhail Lewis quite a bit, although those guys could be kind of going at it for, you know, I see them both in, say, the 3 through 7 range next year at the open/trials. Oh, I don't know if they're even having the open, but the trials, right?
Right. No, I kind of see it that way as well. It's an interesting change up for James, where he was kind of like, you know, the number 2 guy at Lincoln, really behind Jordan, and now he'll be the guy, and he'll have this young apprentice type up and comer.
Uh-huh.
But you know, Makai's a natural 74 kilograms. He's going to be on the bigger side at 74. And I could see in a year or two, that's going to be a real scrap in there, you know. But it's just for 1 year, one And then they're just, you know, teammates and training partners, et cetera. I think I think it's great. I mean, you look at the talent around Mackay that they have in the room there. You've got Jared Frere. You've got some talented middleweights. You've got James Green. I'm pretty sure Jared trains with Mackay or has trained with Mackay, which is kind of crazy because he's a big 97-pounder. But
I got a bunch more questions, but I feel like guilty asking you guys when I should just ask James Green in 30 minutes. So I'm gonna save the rest of my questions.
So why don't we discuss what's the impact here for Nebraska? What's the impact for Virginia Tech? What does this mean? Go ahead.
Well, I think the interesting thing for Nebraska, and this is one I don't think Jordan Burroughs has said definitively, but Nebraska's been, I guess, quality over quantity. They don't have a gigantic RTC like say Minnesota, right? As 8 to 10 guys seemingly around at all times. And there's other larger RTCs. Nebraska has seemed to have two main focal points, being Green and Burroughs. Now Green is leaving. Burroughs, I got to assume he's done after next year, but I guess who knows, right? If he is done, then who do they have left? Because who graduated this year? Isaiah White. I mean, I don't want to crap on him because he's really good, but it's not like he's going to make the senior world team anytime soon, in my opinion. Right. So who is the Nebraska RTC going to bring in there?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like about the RTC is that the guys have this mobility. He's able to go from Nebraska to Virginia Tech, and we saw when Kyle Snyder left Ohio State and went to Penn State, and then Ohio State replaced him, quotation marks, with Jaden Cox, right? So what's the move for Nebraska after this? I mean, obviously Coach Manning's been able to do a lot. They had Don Bradley, I think, for a little bit there, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
But beyond that, they haven't
Kendrick Maple, right?
Yes, Kendrick Maple.
But Maple was actually an assistant on their staff.
Yeah,
I don't think he was actually RTC.
Right, but he, did probably. I'm sure he did RTC practices and whatnot with the squad. So I don't know. I'm sure Coach Manning is gonna continue, and I am not convinced Burroughs will be done after 21. Now I don't know. I got the impression after 2020 it wasn't going to be done. But then I don't know how 2021. I mean, I think so much hinges on how he does, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly don't know if success or I know we're not really talking about Burroughs, but I don't know if success or failure would drive him out. Is more likely to drive him out. Like if he doesn't make the team in 2021, would Jordan just say, "Okay, that's it," or would he? If he wins, would he say, "Okay, I'll go out as a champion with 6 world and Olympic titles and be done with it"? Right? I don't know what it would mean.
Yeah, that is a really interesting one. Which would make him stick around, which would make him leave, or is it independent of the result? Because in some cases, if you won, you'd be like, well, that's the perfect exit. But then you might also say, well, I can still win, right? Right. And then obviously if you lose, you might have that drive to say, I can get back on top, but then you might also say, well, I'm really old and getting back on top is going to be hard. And, I'm now 32. I don't know how old he is, 31, 32. And I have other things I want to do with my life, which I don't know, I don't know Jordan all that well, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So, and with James, he had mentioned he wants to get into coaching at some point. So I'm curious what the next couple of years will look like for him. Is he just going to remain kind of on the RTC with Southeast RTC at Virginia Tech, or will he move on to staff at some point? That's what I'm curious. Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things that I feel like I think could be really cool for some of these RTCs, and I don't know that it doesn't happen, but I feel like some of these older athletes could almost be signed to an RTC as a player coach. You know what I'm saying? Where they're still competing, but they're kind of getting towards the end, and they start also coaching and taking over some of the duties there. And then, potentially when they're fully done, they either continue to coach at the RTC or go somewhere else. I don't think that's officially been done, although maybe unofficially, but I think that would be kind of a good move for some of these RTCs to do.
Yeah, no question. He had mentioned the Penn RTC, and Coach Slay had reached out. I'm actually surprised that he wouldn't have gone there, given how close that is to to New Jersey, which makes
Damn it! That's my question for later, Piles.
Oh, well, he kind of discussed it a little bit on the Bader show, just that Slay had reached out. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, well, he's got. So I guess the question I was going to ask is, you don't just have Penn RTC, you have New Jersey RTC, you have NYC RTC, you have Lehigh Valley RTC. All are within, probably a couple hours, maybe even less, of his house.
Well, Ben, the answer is very, very obvious why he would go there.
What?
He wants to live in Virginia, baby.
Oh God, stop.
Have you ever been to Blacksburg? Have you ever been to Black? Oh my! Says who?
Says who? Go ahead. Actually, my new friend Paul Macbeth, he has a house in he's building his course in Good, Virginia, which is actually fairly close. Do you know where that is? It's fairly close to Blacksburg, and that is one area of the United States I've never been to, and I need to go visit.
Good, West Virginia?
No, it's called Good, Virginia. Goode, Virginia.
Huh. Okay, I'll look it up right now.
It's so actually. I've been to all 50
Bedford
states,
County.
Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to all 50 states, but that is like a black hole down there. So that like southern West Virginia, western Kentucky, northern like that, that's like a black hole for me. Like I don't know why anyone would go to that area of the United States.
You need
that is the most disrespectful thing you've ever said on
Ben. Listen. Jokes are fine. We can pick on each other. You've gone too far. You've gone way too far. In fact. You need to come. You need to come to the Shenandoah Valley.
I've never been there. So is that where you live, Christian? Like, is Bedford County? Is that where you?
That's not. I mean, not far.
Where's
from
Buffalo
there.
Gap? Where's Buffalo Gap?
It's a little northwest of there, right on the West Virginia border.
Got it. So middle of nowhere, also.
Also, yes, it's great too. Hater.
So I've been to D.C., Baltimore. I've been to Virginia Beach a whole bunch. I've been obviously to Super 32, Raleigh. Been there a bunch, and that area which you're speaking of, it's just like this large, circle gap for me that I did go to Smoky Mountains one time. I don't make everyone mad, but I wasn't all that impressed by the Smoky Mountains, and never went back.
They weren't that smoky.
Yeah. I like Smoky Mountains, but it's a different vibe in Virginia for sure. It's not like the Smoky Mountains. Go on it, Ben. Yeah. You haven't been to the best parts of Virginia. So yeah, Blacksburg is a great place to live. So I'm sure he'll like it. They're a good place to raise a family. And yeah, obviously great news for the Hokies, the Hokie middleweights. All in all, good stuff. More talent headed to the ACC, which I love. I love the ACC. Love the Virginia schools. So I was excited about this. Very good news.
Absolutely.
So congrats to James, and we'll have him on, I think, around 9 o'clock. He had to take his daughter to daycare. Remember, last year, he had just had this, his daughter, like 2 days before Final X. Like, the baby was born the day before weigh-ins, and then weigh-ins.
Yeah, he came to the press conference.
He should have planned a little better. He should have planned that birthday a little better.
Yeah, Bader. Yeah, Bader's had to miss NCAAs because of Sweet
Terrible
Bella.
Bader. Terrible.
Loves love, Benjamin. Okay, so we'll talk more about James Green, I'm sure, especially when he comes on. All right, where do we want to go next? Kyle did the Iowa depth chart and lineup look long-term for Iowa. I'm interested in this because I was doing that this morning. Unbeknownst to me, Kyle Brecky wrote this article already. Could have saved me a ton of time, but oh well.
Well, I just finished it last night.
Okay, good. So I didn't miss it completely. Because I had a few questions. I was looking at this, but why don't you give us the overview here?
Well, they because in the depth chart you do the way Nomad has done it, and I followed suit this year. Was you kind of list out everyone they have at the weight in their order, and then you do this year and the next few years coming up. So next year, Iowa loaded.
Wow, so loaded.
Glam.
For me, really, the only lineup question I had was, are these rumors of Kimmer going up true? Which I don't know. That
What? He's going up to 84? Is that really true?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're a better team with him at 74. And I don't know.
Well, but did we not discuss that Assad was going to redshirt?
We did, but that was just someone said on Facebook chat. And I get you could.
It wasn't Tom Brands, was it?
It was not.
All right, never mind.
And then
what if Tom Brands has an alias though?
He might.
Terry.
Yeah. And then I was on Hawkeye Report, and someone brought up that rumor that we talked about, and everyone was very much like, "Where are you hearing this? This doesn't seem like a reality." So I think you just run it back like you did last year. You put Iron Man at 41, Mirren goes to 49, and then honestly, I don't even think you should redshirt Assad.
Really?
I think you should wrestle him. If you're gonna if Kimmer's at 74, that means your other option at 84 is Nelson Brands, right?
Yeah.
He was 4-4 at 184 last year. He had two. We all got really high on him because he beat Colbray and he beat Waddell. But then he lost to Stefanik. He lost to Montalvo. He was undersized, and maybe he gets a little bigger, but he was 4-4 at 184.
He's listed on the roster as a 65-pounder.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he's probably headed back down there after Marinelli graduates, I'm guessing.
That would make sense. So Bracky and I were discussing what I was going to do with Patrick Kennedy when he comes in, because he's been kind of listed by not everyone, but a lot of people as like a 65-pounder. A lot of people think he's kind of small and just wrestles up. I don't know what the case is. Bracky thinks that's stupid and that he's going to go 74.
Well,
he yelled at me for like 20 minutes.
So we're talking about Kennedy, not Nelson Brands, correct?
Correct. So that would dictate kind of where if Kennedy was a 74, then Nelson can go 65. Right?
Is Kennedy better than Nelson Brands? I mean, that's a better question to ask, right?
I have no idea, but I would
probably say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, well, we don't know what he's going to move into, but I mean, like, if the match happened today, I got to assume Nelson Brands is going to win. I mean, he was, you guys had him ranked as high as 7 last year?
He was up there.
He was in the top 10 when he beat Colbray, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's that much of a stretch thing that Nelson Brands beats him right now. Now, will he beat him in a year? I don't know, but that he beats him right now, I think that's probably a pretty solid bet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he'll be Patrick Kennedy will be a 65-pounder. The dude wrestled 182 in the postseason this year and moved up from 170 where he was at the majority of the high school season.
I sometimes, if he had done that at like Super 32 or something, it'd be one thing, but I feel like so many of these guys at their state tournaments just wrestle whatever weight works for the team or whatever, because he could have won 195 probably, right? These guys are just at the state level are so good or nationally elite. It doesn't really make a difference. That's my
I get that,
thought.
but then you're going to go because, I mean, he's going to sit next year.
Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Or Kennedy.
Patrick Kennedy.
Yeah, he'll redshirt.
Right. So he's going to sit next year, and then he's going to stay light enough throughout that year, and then to go down to 65.
Well, you don't have to stay light if you just are that light.
I know, but is he?
Is he?
You don't have to stay light if you are that light.
Blow your mind, Ben?
Yeah, I had to. I'm like, is Christian saying something really smart here? No.
It's somewhere in between.
Whatever size you are.
That's exactly right.
I mean, if he's
well said, Ben.
If he's a 65-pounder, they're fine. And even if they're not, Nelson could probably go 65 for his last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would need to go get somebody else. But if you look at 25, you have Aaron Cashman right behind Spencer Lee. But then you have a verbal commitment from Drake Ayala, who I think will be ready to go right away as a true freshman.
Their lightweights are going to get really crazy. It's partially why they almost have to wrestle Spencer and DeSanto next year.
Yeah.
So otherwise, the logjam it creates with like Ayala, Ibarra, Teasdale, Cashman, Shriever.
Yeah,
all these dudes basically at 2 weights.
I think Ayala could be ready to go right away. If he's not, you still have Cashman there, who's probably an NCAA type qualifier guy. And then at 33, like you were saying, after DeSanto leaves, you would still have 2 years of Teasdale, and then you have incoming freshman Jesse Ybarra and Colin Shriver. I think Shriver can probably grow into 41.
Yes. Let that boy eat.
Yeah. So, and I honestly think Ybarra, after a year, probably beats Teasdale from what we've seen from Gavin so far.
I'm holding out hope. Not that I hope bad for Jesse. I just want to see Gavin put on the black and gold and have a nice D1 career for himself.
Yeah, so either way, you have good options there. And then at 41, we talked about Colin Shriver possibly moving up. Wyatt Henson is committed in the class of 2021 right now, but he did wrestle 138 this year, so is he gonna stay that same size?
Yeah. I think Henson's a 41-49 based on that.
Yeah.
If you're a junior at 38 at PA States, you're probably gonna get bigger.
Yeah,
he's got a frame.
So how long would it be? A year or two? Would it be not at all? And he just comes in as a 49?
Dude, they're from like 25 to 49. They're gonna have such a concentration of talent.
Very loaded. They also in the class of 2021 they have a commitment from Caleb Ratchie.
Yep.
He won one.
You gut wrenched him.
I did. He won 138 at Iowa State last year, but he is no longer even close to that. He was just at the camp in Oklahoma, and he's very big.
A very big person.
Yes, I think he'll be a 57-pounder.
Okay, well that's good because I was wondering who's going to be Iowa's 57.
I think it's going to be Ratchie. He's very big right now, and I was talking to Nomad, and Nomad interviewed him, and he's like he wants to get bigger too.
Did Nomad gut him?
Nomad can't gut him.
I like that.
More of a lace guy.
Yeah.
We got news on I love our Facebook chat. Sometimes there's some good stuff. Aaron Cashman said on Instagram Live he's going 133 after DeSanto leaves.
Oh, really?
And then they gotta go.
Oh, good. That'll give them 19 33-pounders. It's good.
I guess he sees that as his way into the lineup.
I would say 25 would make more sense.
But it would.
Unless he thinks Spencer's going to redshirt, in which case.
Wait. Yeah, because so he'd wrestle next year while Spencer redshirts, and then he would move up when DeSanto graduates.
Yeah.
So does he think he gets the bet? He must think he gets the better of Teasdale and Ybarra and Shriver then.
Yes. As opposed to
maybe
Ayala, maybe? Would they wrestle Ayala right away? It would be very, Spencer Lee or Drake Ayala is just probably not Spencer Lee level or close. I mean, that's the kind of level talent that they've used.
You think?
Yeah, he can't
someone's
be
not Spencer Lee level. You don't say.
Kind of obvious.
I mean,
I'm trying to be delicate here because everyone will be like, "Oh, I'm not Spencer Lee," but
No, bro, you're not. There's only been like 2 people in the history of wrestling that are that level at 125 pounds. Like, get lost.
All right, beat it, Drake. Beat it, Drake. You'll never be. No.
I didn't say never. I said right. You said right now.
Right now, Drake Ayala has not won any world championships.
Maybe never, because again, there's only a few people who've ever achieved that level of proficiency at wrestling at that weight class.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Hey, did I see a type of Spencer? You have Spencer Lee down as a junior. That's a miss, right? You meant senior.
Because
you got DeSanto as a senior, so I gotta assume. You mean Spencer Lee as a senior?
Oh,
at your depth chart.
Yeah, my bad.
Mind your own business, man.
Thank you, Ben.
Go in the back end software and fix that real quick.
Yeah,
he
done.
just did.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm gonna refresh the page.
It takes a few minutes, but 49. You have 2 years of Murin.
What do we think about Brett Lee Reyna prospects?
I like him a lot. He kind of I don't want to say came in nowhere, but he kind of did at Super 32. He beat Joey Zargo, Ed Scott, and Josh Saunders to win Super 32.
Dang.
And I remember
that's a run.
Yeah, I remember before the tournament, or before Fargo, I know the Florida coaches were hyping him up to Nomad, and he didn't have the tournament he wanted. But then Super 32, he was like there. He's another South Dade kid, like Lugo was. I like him a lot. It's just, can he hold 49? And that might be where Henson comes into play if he can't hold 41.
Then he could go 57, him and Ratchie.
Yeah.
Reyna, a better prospect than Ratchie, probably?
I don't. They're probably on the same level, honestly. Like, that's. I'm not sure about that one.
What about Murin at 49? I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like he's going to be undersized, or do you feel like he's going to fill in at 149 and be? I mean, some guys going to get better. I don't feel like he was a huge 141, but that could just be my feeling.
I thought he looked kind of big-ish. I thought he had a frame to go up to 49, but maybe not. But he looked like a guy that was pulling some weight. I don't think he's the biggest 41. He wasn't like, I don't know how big 41 would be, but he didn't look like that. So I don't know. But I think my thought is he's going to have to go 49 this year, right? And if Jaden is going to make the decision. If Jaden wants to go 41 and Tom Brand says go 41, Max Mirren's not going to be able to stand in his way, so he'll have to go to 49. And then you go 49, build yourself up to be a good size 49, and then cut yourself back down. I don't think that unless you really are that small, I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's my thought there. Okay. So we got to 57.
Yeah, and then so I think Ratchy, and if Reina outgrows 49, then at 65, they don't have anyone committed. Now you could, if Kennedy is the 65, then you're fine. And you could also have 2 years of Nelson Brands if Kennedy can't make 65 either. So you don't need one for a few years, but as of right now, no one coming in the pipeline. At 74. It's kind of the same. There's no one committed in the pipeline, and you don't really have
unless Kennedy is 70.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah,
but you essentially have those two guys between those two weights, right? Nelson and oh my gosh, Patrick Kennedy, and so they're going to go one of them is going to suck down to 165, whether that makes their life miserable or not. That's where one of them is going to go.
Yep. So then at 84, you still have 3 years of Assad. I put Nelson on here at 84 just because that's where he wrestled last year. And if Kimmer moves up, then he could definitely be a 74-pounder.
Didn't Zach Glazier get huge? I thought he went up to like 97.
I believe his matches were at 184 last year.
I don't know why I thought that. Or maybe I just think he's huge because he's up at 84. And
his matches were at 97. That's just a miss on my part.
Yeah. He's kind of big. So
well, me and Piles are busting you up. You got Spencer Lee the wrong grade.
Man, I know.
We're shaking you up this morning.
Wow.
This is good. It hasn't run yet, so we're fine.
Good. We're just doing on the show where thousands of people listen. It's good. He only lost to Brucky 8-5.
Mm-hmm.
And 2-0 to Jack Brown. I'm not familiar with Jack Brown's work.
Glazier was good last year.
Yeah, 19-2. But he's going to be behind the ladies' man, Jacob Warner.
Well, what if Jacob Warner's too busy with the ladies and Zach Glazier takes him out?
That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case last year.
Well, I mean, another year, and maybe Warner falls in love. Who knows? And that brings him down.
Did you ever fall in love during your collegiate campaign? A lot of guys get married. Lincoln McElravy. He was married.
I put the women on notice that listen, I'm freaking wrestling. And after I'm done wrestling, then we'll go on a date or we'll go hang out. But you're not my number one. This is my number one, and then worked itself out.
So they just knew. They knew the deal.
Yeah, I mean, listen. My whole life is you got to be upfront with people, and once you're totally honest with people, everything falls into place. That's yeah. Nah, I don't want to get on a soapbox or nothing. We're talking about wrestling.
Whoops. It's very unlike us to get off task, so we gotta remain steadfastly focused on the Iowa lineup.
Stay focused.
Yeah. So 84-97, Jacob Warner for the next 2 years, Cassiope for the next 3 years, Big Tone, and a lot of talent coming in to the Iowa lineup.
Yeah, they honestly are set for a while.
Where's their biggest? If you had to say, all right, the biggest need they need to address is
they don't really. If you include the class 2021, they don't really. I want to say they don't need anything, but
I feel like 49-57 may be the most immediate pressing needs potentially. Like if Shriver Ratchi or Reina,
But now you're saying like these guys who are both really good high school wrestlers, like I don't know if you're just like under the assumption that they're not going to pan out because they're not. They're not any deeper. They're not necessarily any deeper at other weights than they are, besides obviously 125, 133 than they are there, right? So like 33. I'm sorry, say 97. Like that's wrong. Dang it, maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like they're just single threaded through one guy, whereas like at 33, if Cashman goes up, they're gonna have Cashman and Teasdale and Ibarra and Shriver potentially. There's 4 there. 25, you're hoping Ayala is 25 for his career, I guess, because they don't have another guy. Ibarra is not a consideration for 25, right?
I don't think so.
Sure.
I didn't think he looked that big at who's number 1?
Yeah.
I think he looked that big, but who knows?
I think 41 could be a place too if Hinton outgrows it and Shriver maybe doesn't put on the size we see coming from him. And also at some point here soon, you need to start looking for Big Tone's replacement.
Oh no, I don't even want to think about that. Big Tone.
Yeah, I feel like I hate that we're like. You're talking about replacing a sophomore. I mean, it's just so far off, and I know that's
the game
they
gotta play.
You gotta start.
I know. I hate it. I still hate it.
Yeah,
and you also probably I was talking to Nomad about this last night. You probably want a guy that's going to be able to be there and in the room for a year instead of just having to start, a true freshman or something. So
yeah, you gotta really thread the needle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ibarra was 120 for who's number 1, right?
And then he went up. He went up during the season.
Yeah. I will say he's a career 25 until proven.
It's so hard to say that now because everyone just goes up.
Yeah, they just keep getting bigger. Hey, I don't even know if this breaking news.
You mean people grow?
That's not for sure yet. There's still.
Is that your breaking news that people get bigger?
There's conflicting studies right now. We're not sure. We don't want to make any direct statements. I do want to make a direct statement about this. Hot off the press, this got sent to me an hour ago. Carol Baskin was awarded Joe Exotic's former zoo by an Oklahoma judge.
Stop.
So the zoo in Wynnewood, Oklahoma now belongs.
Are you messing with me?
NBC News.
It's true.
I'm texting to you right now, bro.
I'm googling Carol Baskin.
No, just look at your phone. Look at your phone right now. I just texted it to you. It's a
Carol
fact.
Baskin, Grand Control of Joe. Oh my God, Jeff Lowe's got. Well, Jeff Lowe has 120 days to do what?
To do what? I don't know.
I don't know.
Something he's not going to do.
He's got 120 days to vacate the property.
Wow.
Joseph Maldonado Passage, a.k.a. Joe Exotic, has found guilty last year of paying a hitman $3,000. Dude, he got set up. Carol Baskin totally set him up.
Well, Jeff Lowe set him up. Jeff Lowe set him up.
And Jeff Lowe. Everyone set him up.
Yeah. Poor Joe Exotic. Well,
wow.
I guess if you threaten to murder someone for around 10 years, you kind of got to lay in that bed now.
I do think it's funny that Jeff Lowe now owns a zoo and has to give it over to Carol, not Joe Exotic.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Because he sucks. Wow. Jeff Lowe sucks.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured you would definitely need to know that breaking news, Ben. Okay.
I'm so annoyed by this. I'm trying to read through this and talk to you guys on the show. Carol Baskins, how is this lady fool people? This is not a nice woman.
Well, once you get onto her games, you end up in a cistern apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with Carol Baskin.
No. You'll tough talk everyone and AJ Agazarm and every MMA fighter you can find, but Carol Baskin's where you draw the line.
What did that bum say?
Hey, he was
Thursday?
He I think he sort of complimented you on the show. I didn't bring you up. I didn't bring you up at all, and I definitely didn't deliver your messages to him, Ben, because he was a guest. I wasn't going to call him a poser or a fraud and this and that, because he is neither of those things. Okay. By the way, he's legit.
Well, he's good at jiu-jitsu, but he's not a good fighter.
Well, we don't know that for sure. He's 3-1. That's okay, but we don't have to rehash that.
He lost to a guy who's 0-0.
What if Khabib was 0-0? Oh snap! I see James Green. What's going on, James?
What's up, guys?
Not much, man. I'm good. How are you doing, James?
I'm good. Enjoying being at home, relaxing.
Well,
morning coffee.
I appreciate you coming on. I know you got back-to-back duty with you're on the Bader show. Hey, Caleb, do you hear that echo?
Yeah, I'm getting it really bad, Christian.
Hold on one second.
Oh, there we go.
It went away. What do you know? All right, it's all better. Thanks, James. So appreciate you coming on Flow back-to-back days, man. But it's really cool news, and we're excited. And I don't know. I just wanted to have you on here and talk about it. But what have the last couple days been like, knowing that you're going to be moving from Lincoln to Blacksburg?
I guess it's just kind of, obviously when you're first talking about it, it's just something that you're talking about, and then it actually happens, and it kind of hits you like, all right, now the word is out. This thing it's the snowball's rolling. Like, I'm sitting here figure out what's the best way for us to pack up and get out there, and how we're gonna go about that. We already kind of found a little place that we're gonna be moving into, so really we're just trying to figure out, when's the best time to get the house ready and sell it and get everything moving. And we obviously don't want to rush out there. We especially what's going on in the world. So for the most part, we're just taking our time with it, and when we get out there, we'll be out there.
That's awesome.
So is this something that's been in the works for a while? Because obviously, El plans all got changed. The Olympic trials was supposed to be in April. Is this something you were planning maybe before then? Did they contact you? Did you contact them? How did it all go down?
So my original plan was to, after Olympic trials, I was expected to be doing interviews, and I was going to make an announcement like, hey, any RTCs want to reach out, I'm looking to come back east or get somewhere closer to home. But trials didn't happen, so they actually ended up reaching out to me. When was it? It was like the end of March, I think. So yeah, we were talking and going, back and forth, just trying to figure out, obviously negotiating and stuff like that. And then once I was like, all right, this thing is, I'm interested in this thing. That's when I reached out to Snyder and Manning. Like, I'm looking to head back, and I've been talking to Virginia Tech. So
one thing, I was gonna ask a question real quick. On the Bader show yesterday, you mentioned a couple times, and you were gonna be reaching out, you were gonna be doing interviews, and you kind of, it almost sounded like you wanted to get out in front of not get out in front of the story, but like basically beat any rumors off at the pass that, like, okay, there's some drama here. Why'd you feel so strongly about that?
Just because the people, well, not people, but obviously you have, a guy like Gilman. He's not very social. I understand that, or it's not social, but as far as being on social media. So for him, like how he went about it, as far as like, hey, I'm heading to Nittany Lion Club, and that's it. And people just took that and ran away with it. Obviously he's at Iowa and they have a rivalry and stuff like that. So then he's in a room, especially. Just all these stories can be made up, and which are not true or nowhere close to what's going on. And me being here in Nebraska, obviously trying to make a Olympic team at 74 kilo, training with JB, and I just didn't want any of that stuff to be in the air before I could even have my say. So I definitely wanted to try and control the narrative of what was going on. And obviously it's not the case. Me and Jordan train all the time. We all were actually in practice yesterday at this little club around here, and I love the coaches here. I love the staff. Everything was fine. It was just more outside of wrestling. And yeah.
Got it.
Nice. Hey, so I guess is your wife from out east also?
Yeah, she's from the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
She has a twin. They went to school for a year, and then she actually decided to come out to Nebraska, and she had a big adjustment to make. So
The Bronx to Lincoln, yeah.
Um.
yeah.
So I guess I asked these guys this, and they didn't have a great answer. So you have a lot of really good options up in that New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, Lehigh Valley, Penn, NYC RTC, NJ RTC. You've got a bunch of good options. Did you look into those? Was it just not the right fit? Was it the coaches? Was it the salary? I mean, what was it about those that didn't fit? Because that would obviously be closer to home for both of you.
So I really we both have family in New York. And right now my mom, she moved to Florida. Her dad and stepmom moved to Florida. And so my youngest, or not my youngest sister, but one of my younger sisters, she's the only person actually living in New Jersey right now. So um thinking about that, like we didn't want to be at the in the city where we're kind of like low key. Want to be on the outside looking in, kind of if we need to go in. Um, and we liked the atmosphere here in Lincoln as far as it being a college town. Not too much going on, but not too little. And we got that kind of same vibe from Virginia Tech, Blacksburg in that area, and then being able to drive up to Roanoke. Um, then also, if you want a little vacation, you got Virginia Beach and stuff like that. And yeah, it's really centralized to a lot of our family. I have family in DC, got family in Georgia. Um, we can go down to Florida if we want. We got people in New York, so all these things are relatively close. And as far as raising a family, we felt like we liked the area compared to looking at other areas as far as RTCs. So yeah, it was a lot. We did our homework, and also on the wrestling side, I just think that as far as me trying to get into coaching, this is one of the places that long term, I feel like that would be something I could do. Um, like Ohio State, they have so many guys. I'm not sure what their goals are after wrestling, but yeah, a lot of RTCs are lined up with alumni like me. If I would have stayed here, I'm in Nebraska, definitely in line to be a coach. So I just wanted that to be a possibility.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as you go to Virginia Tech stepping into more of a coaching role, whether within the RTC or with some of the guys on the team?
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm gonna be selfish because I'm still competing. So, I'm gonna be if competition's coming up or camps are coming up, that's gonna be my first duty. But I'm definitely gonna be helping in the room, helping on the freestyle club side, and I'd also want to get involved with just the state of Virginia, and growing the sport of wrestling. So helping out with the kids, and obviously I don't. Virginia is not a powerhouse by any means, but it's nice to be able to give back to that community and help it, start going in that direction, trying to spread the sport of wrestling and have these kids come out and share my knowledge with them.
That's great. Yeah. Well, Virginia could use a little help in that regard for sure. They're coming along.
Virginia
though.
was the best wrestling state in the country, Chris.
It's the best state. It's the best state in the country. It's not the best wrestling state in the country. It's coming along. Just give it time. We had Christiansburg High School. They had a nice little run there. So
who is that one really good bigger guy? Sorry to just James. I got ADHD. This might be your era. Who was that really really big guy who was really good in high school and then he kind of flopped?
Cody Gardner.
Oh, that's something.
He passed away. Sorry. It was really sad.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's really tragic. Thanks for bringing it down, Ben. Anything else?
How did I know that? How did I know that happened?
Your ADHD just got everyone really sad.
Man, that's terrible. Okay, well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask as you look to the future, James, and quads, the end of an Olympic cycle, a lot of people kind of evaluate career options. And yesterday on the Bader Show, you basically said, after the Olympics, you were still going to wrestle. You were going to likely go back down. Have you thought about how much longer you want to compete?
Oh yeah, I mean, I want to keep this thing going as long as I can, as long as I'm healthy enough. I enjoy wrestling. I'm having fun. And as long as I feel like I'm having fun and I have that desire to wrestle, that competitiveness burn in me, then I'm going to continue to do it. And that's where I'm at right now. But on the other side of it, it's like if I'm thinking about trying to get into coaching, then ideally I would want to start, um, you know, probably after 2024. But, if things are going how I want them to go, and obviously I'm continue to focus on training and competing, because yes, obviously we've seen people try and do both, coach and compete, and it's tough. It's a tough task. So you can only give yourself to so much at the same time, and trying to train and look after a team of 30 guys or recruit, and then go on the road. It's a lot. So I'm going to be keeping my focus on competing for the moment, and that's what I'll be focusing on.
Your size is often one thing that's discussed. As in 2016 you tried to go down to the Olympic weight of 65. Clearly you weren't even a shell of yourself, right? It wasn't like
Right.
James Green we had ever watched. So it was basically assumed from that point on you would have to go up to 74 for the next Olympic cycle. How tough is it knowing that your body is best at 70 kilograms and that you've got to make these adjustments? Has that frustrated you at all?
Oh yeah, it's definitely frustrating just because I feel like I'm stuck, and it's just like I was saying on the Beta Show, I have to lift a little more, eat a little more, um, just to kind of maintain where I feel like I'm strong enough to compete with these guys. And if I'm getting out of that training cycle, then my body is just up and down, in my weight. So it's definitely frustrating to, think about this next Olympics. Like if we're going to have this next Olympics, then I got to hit the weight room. I got to start trying to get my body back to where it was before we kind of went into quarantine. And um, yeah, doing that right now, obviously, I think it you see people take time as they transition, um, to kind of get, filled in. And I don't think that would be the case with me, as far as me making it a permanent thing, just because I don't. That's just how my body is, and 70 kilos is the perfect weight for me. And yeah, it's definitely frustrating knowing like there's some times where I make 70 kilos and it's easy, and I'm like, dang, maybe I can make 65. But obviously, obviously, it's just like that I know that I won't feel the same. Once I get to like probably that 150 mark, it's just like then I'm rethinking about it, even trying to get down to 143. But yeah, it sucks to have that back and forth in my head because I've definitely had it. Like, man, I'm feeling good. Maybe I could do this thing again. And then there's some times where like I don't know how I got down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that
Seriously.
continuing battle.
I'm curious about not only you, but something I'm thinking about for all the athletes who are going through what they're going through now is, are you planning on competing a whole bunch before the trials next year? Is it like a one-time thing, a two-time thing, maybe overseas for a tournament? And I know, obviously, with what's going on, it is kind of a little bit all up in the air. But I guess if you got the pick, what would it look like for you?
Yeah, I would definitely be trying to get at least two competitions in. And whether that be here or overseas, yeah, I think I would be comfortable with two competitions and then going to trials. And while we're on that, it's hard to imagine what that would look like just because how USA Wrestling is structured, especially with the national team. So if there's something that's overseas, like only a few people are going to be able to go at each weight class. So I don't think that would be necessarily fair. But hey, if that's why we have it, I guess, to determine on who's going to get those kind of options and take advantage of it. So yeah, 2 competitions and a decent amount of, I guess, a month maybe in between, just to kind of get yourself back down and then amp it back up just before the trials. So.
Knowing that Jordan's kind of been the gold standard at 74 for since 2011, is it in your mind at all like, all right, I maybe don't need to train if I need to take this guy out, you need to take his spot? I mean, do you think it's an advantage that you're going to be now training at a different place, whereas if you're training alongside him, maybe that's a disadvantage, or is that totally immaterial?
I don't think it's just immaterial, just because there's so many times where we've been in the same room, not with just Jordan, but with other guys, and you get to see how they work, and you either wrestled with them a few times. The only thing that maybe be a disadvantage is just kind of missing out on those last couple 30-second sprints and getting that feel, because it's definitely hard to replicate. And obviously Jordan is probably he's the best in the world at just that sprint. And yeah, I think that's one thing I could think of just off the top of my head is like, yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to be doing that, but you got to definitely keep it a reminder, like this guy, Jordan, is going to go hard. If he's down, you got to be able to withstand that onslaught of just double legs, headbutts, head clubs, and just know it's coming. But yeah, it's hard to be ready for. Even being in the room, it's hard to be ready for. So yeah, that's just one thing that's definitely going to be in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that sprint, when you're watching Jordan wrestle, or like think about the Final X, I mean, it's one of I think his most famous sprints is the one at Imar in match number 1, I guess it was. Where you're like, okay, I've seen this before. I know exactly what Imar's feeling right now, and it's terrible.
Oh yeah. I'm like, oh man. When you go up by 1 point, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for this guy, because it's coming. It's coming. It's I mean, and honestly, if you look at Sidikov or the other guys, it's almost better to be down in those last final seconds, so he's not coming at you as hard. And yeah, anytime that someone goes up, I'm just like, definitely the match ain't over, that's for sure. He's definitely gonna be coming. So yeah, it's really impressive just to see, because he's like that all the time in the room, and knowing that me being a Virginia Tech, that's a possibility for him. I always got to just keep myself mindful, like he ain't never gonna stop wrestling. So
yeah, you're gonna not be lacking training partners at Virginia Tech. They have a really talented squad, and particularly Mekhi Lewis is another 74 kilo guy, junior world champ. I know you'd mentioned you had wrestled with him a little bit, but how excited are you to train with someone like Mekhi?
It's exciting just because he's a New Jersey guy. He's a younger guy, and he's already had success. So for him to he's taken an Olympic redshirt year, and you see where his goals are at, and he's trying to do big things. When you're in a room full of people, like-minded people, it just makes everyone better. So I'm excited to get in the room with Mekhi, and not even only Mekhi, but just being on the East Coast alone. Like Ben mentioned earlier, like there's so many RTCs where I can go up or down and get a 3-day or even a week of training in a different room with some different bodies. And that's where people get lost. The RTCs are just an extension of the school, and everyone's all like, oh, I'm at Ohio State, but they're forgetting like we're not wrestling in college anymore. We're wrestling for Team USA, so we're all helping each other. And I got Jo within a few hours. NC State guys, you got Ohio State, New Jersey RTC, UPenn guys can get up to New York. So I'm really excited just for that alone, just to kind of have that option to, hey, you guys want to get together, get a little training cycle in, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Hey, I was to ask you, and if you don't want to get too sentimental, whatever. One of my favorite guys. I only got to work with him for a year, and I think you got to spend, I'm gonna not 9 years with the guy right now. Brian Snyder. I love my year coaching with him at Arizona State. I still keep in touch with him fairly regularly. I know he's been in your corner forever. What's it going to be like, kind of saying goodbye to him and not having him? I mean, I know kind of be in your corner, but not really in your corner anymore.
Right. It was definitely tough. It was hard to kind of just even break the news over the phone, or as far as like, hey, I'm gonna be looking out for these, trying to head back home, and yeah, it's like I'm definitely gonna me and Snyder have a great relationship. Not only a coach, as a friend. He's been real inspirational, motivational in my life, and it's definitely. I think right now it's hard for me to imagine, but once I get where I'm getting into my routine, and it's not waking up and getting a coffee with Manning and Snyder. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is obviously I'm going to be building new relationships, and thinking about that, making the decision. It's like I built so many relationships here, and I know that I had a good thing here, and it's in reality, it's going to be, I'm going to miss it. I know that, but selfishly, I think this was something I had to do. And on his part, selfishly, he wants, like, he feels like this is the best place for me, and as a coach, and as far as wrestling, and being in my corner. But then on the other side, outside of wrestling, he's really understanding, and he wants the best for me, and yeah, he's real supportive. So I appreciate Snyder and Manning, and just UNL and the Husker fans in general.
Yeah, obviously been a great spot for you. 4-time All-American, Big Ten champ, multiple world medalists. Five world teams, senior world teams. Is that right?
Yeah, the 2016 Olympic world team is in there. So yeah, 5.
That's awesome. So you'd mentioned RTCs a little bit. How important do you think they are for USA Wrestling in general? They're kind of at least weirdly to me, a sort of a controversial topic in terms of some college coaches want them gone completely. Others,
Right.
obviously, Coach Manning would be a great example of this. Think they're good. Where do you fall on the importance of RTCs for USA Wrestling?
I think it's great, right? Because before RTCs and we got these things set up, it was what the guys earlier, Dave Schultz and them, they had to go through the whole Foxcatcher thing, and that kind of situation. So with the RTCs, it takes a little weight off of USA Wrestling, because there are so many guys that this is their dream, this is their goals for this certain amount of time, and they're trying to put their all into it. And me personally, I couldn't be going to Colorado Springs and just living in the dorms trying to train all the time, 24/7. I'd probably get burned out just being in that area, as far as having to stay on campus or something like that. And with the backing and support of these RTCs, and the people that donate to them, and the donors of the sport of wrestling, they're real supportive, and just taking that pressure off of USA Wrestling. And I understand it's definitely a business side, and some of the schools, they can't get the donors or create something in that nature. But at the same time, if they're a fan of wrestling and seeing guys compete after college, I think they have to kind of put that aside for our sport as a whole. And yeah, as much help as we can get outside of the colleges, then the better it is for us. And I'm appreciative of the RTCs. Maybe I don't quite understand it from the coaching perspective right now, but from my perspective, it's great for us and the athletes.
Your daughter is coming up on her first birthday. Of course, she came into the world at the perfect time, we'll say. But just thoughts on this first year of fatherhood and that just kind of that whole saga of you having your daughter and then making weight and making the team.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was doing so much traveling when she was born. So for those first couple of months, it was just I was kind of watching her through the phone, as far as being on the road, calling, FaceTime, seeing what's up, and every time I come back home, it's like kind of just warming back up to her because those early couple months, it's like mom is the only one that's can really do provide for her. So yeah, it was just like I couldn't really. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I was just like watching from afar. And this quarantine, when she starts actually crawling around and starts moving and stuff like that, then it starts getting real exciting. And for her, week to week, or any child, week to week, it's so crazy, the development they make. So, for example, just last week she was just standing up, and now this week she actually just started walking. So the gains are, it's incredible to see, watch her grow, her personality, and the resemblance between me and her mother. So it's just like that kind of thing. What kind of went into our decision, like she's growing up around us and we want her to grow up around family and be close to family. So it's exciting to be a father. I'm happy she's in my life, and this first birthday, I'm not sure what it's going to be like, just because with the quarantine, we did have planned to get people out here and celebrate. I don't know why people go so hard for first birthdays anyway, but
I have no idea what happened.
You don't remember it.
Right. But that's what we had planned. So I don't know. We'll get on a Zoom call or something and just have her go crazy on a cake. But
they'll like that. They always do. Well, you won't have to cut any weight for this birthday, so that'll be good.
Oh, right. Yeah. Man, that was crazy, but exciting and fun.
Ben, do you have any more questions for James?
Well, I think, that kind of got me thinking. I seen James wax his armpit, and then think about, he's sharing his wife. He's sharing his wife's suffering, cutting weight while she's birthing. Because I think those processes of being miserable are fairly similar. Although that will make women all over the world mad at me.
Oh my God.
Very mad at me.
Oh my God.
He went there. James, he just went there.
It's awesome that you decided to share the suffering with her, and then you felt for all women and you waxed your armpits. You're an amazing man.
Oh man.
I took one for the team for
Thanks,
us.
Yeah.
But Ben had to slide in comparing weight cutting to childbirth, and now you put James in a really weird spot with that one.
No, he doesn't have to comment. I'll take all the heat. I'll take all the heat.
So it's great. Nothing.
James is smarter than Ben there.
Hey, man, you know what? In all fairness, I don't know that his wife watches the show.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll watch today.
Watch today, right?
She's
gonna watch today.
Nothing good happened. You don't need to watch it.
She's gonna watch her husband. You dork.
Oh,
all right. Hey, James, I really appreciate you coming on. We're excited for you. I obviously, as a proud Virginian, am excited to have more talent. I know you're gonna do great things at Tech, and you're gonna love Blacksburg and Tech and Coach Roby and Freyer and the whole gang there. Cody Brewer.
Yeah.
So excited for you coming on. Anything before we let you go?
No, it's thanks for having me. I just want you guys to be safe in these crazy times, and I know you're a great group of men, so just be mindful and keep an open ear, and be safe. So appreciate you guys for having me, and you guys have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Appreciate that, James. Appreciate that final word too. Be well. Good luck on your move. Happy birthday to your little girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro. See ya. All right, James Green. Yo.
I got to pee so bad. I didn't want to cut off James, so I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Come on.
It's only my second time in 6 months. Leave me alone. Ozzy was up early this morning.
20 minutes.
Water.
Wayne Boffman would wait till dinner. Listen. All right, he called me soft because I didn't want to echo in my ear the whole time.
Wayne Boffman would be so disappointed.
Wayne Boffman is furious right now. I've been asking. All right. So, James Green to Virginia Tech, joining Parkersburg High School's Jared Hott.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got to be pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, they're really excited. They know what James brings to the practice room.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great workout partner for their guys, obviously. They think it's a place where James can achieve his goals too, and it's probably only going to help in recruiting as well for the Hokies.
For sure, and you think about this dude's a pro's pro, 5 world teams, just knows how to do all the little things the right way, and obviously the results are on the other side of that, and to have that around your program, Jared Fraier's not really competing anymore, so you have this senior level guy who's been at the top of the international game for years, a world finalist. That's gonna do nothing but bring good things for the Hokies.
Also, a great guy for the face of their program, Mekhi Lewis, to have.
Yeah,
they're working out with, and while they'll be the same weight this season, as James said, they won't be for many other years.
Yeah. Should we even acknowledge Ben is back? We know he didn't in the time.
Bring it back.
Caleb muted him wisely.
That was deserved.
He didn't wash his hands in this time of Corona. I know you didn't wash your hands, you savage.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I didn't piss on my hands, but I didn't wash.
Oh my gosh! Heck on it.
Listen. Okay, now we're gonna get me started on hygiene. Christian, I don't know if I've ever peed on my hands, and my hands are way dirtier than my schlong. And so,
oh my gosh,
I don't get why people wash their hands after they pee. You should wash your schlong, if anything.
We have to end the show. We just have to call it. This
is not nearly as bad as what Sion said.
Well,
That's actually true.
I don't even remember.
Sion has said so much worse on this show.
I literally blacked out. I'm blacking out for this moment right now.
But Christian, refute my point. Are you going to tell me?
I refuse. I have blocked it out.
It's dirtier than your hands. Are you going to make that argument to me? Because that is not an argument that you can make.
I'm not making any arguments about this. I've moved on from the conversation.
And you know what? We should have a female on who's both cut a lot of weight and had a baby, and it may have her compare the processes. And then I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. I've only done half of those things.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the half that you need to have done is the most important part. That is the part you haven't done. So, for that reason,
you haven't either. So let's let
right. And so that's why I never made the freaking claim. And also, I can just.
I said similar. Similar doesn't mean they're the same thing. They just means here's what you're gonna make yourself miserable, and then you're gonna have something good at the end of it. I mean, that's it.
Theoretically. Okay. So yeah, we'll find who.
There's lots of moms.
Yeah.
Catherine Shy. We could talk to her. I'm pretty sure she probably cut weight too, right?
Marcy Van Dusen. Marcy Van Dusen would be interesting. I don't remember her last name right now. She got married. It's changed. But she, I remember she got kicked off the floor at Fargo one year because she had her baby and Baby Bjorn, and she was coaching. And I thought it was fantastic. But apparently, it's like against the rules. I thought it was shenanigans that she got kicked off.
Wow,
that is shenanigans.
I declare shenanigans on the Fargo Dome floor.
Seriously.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
The babies just flop around. They're all happy in that thing. They don't give a damn.
I'm not trying. Maybe I'm gonna get canceled for saying this, but
oh no,
you let the service dogs down there, you got animals.
There was a dog down there.
There's dogs. Why can't you?
I don't recall this.
No, there was
what?
16 Fargo 2016. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, there was one more recent than that.
That was the one I was at.
Might have been 2 years ago. 18. There was a girl I think from Team Washington.
Okay.
I don't know. Needed a support dog for some reason. There was just like a golden retriever just hanging out down on the floor.
Which is, you know what? I'm not kicking a dog out, but I'm saying if you can have a dog, you can have a baby. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Marcy's last name, I'm pretty sure, is now Lane. So maybe she'll come on the show.
Okay. Or Catherine Shy. She's more recently done both things, I would say. So I will do that, and we can.
You never. I think when those experiences are terrible, Christian, you're never gonna forget how bad they are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was gonna say.
Listen,
I got. But Christian, why would you wash your hands? You should wash your dinghy, if anything.
I wash. I'm completely washed at all times.
You wash your dinghy in the public bathroom?
No. What? Stop. Just stop. We got to move on. We're going to questions from friends before we just get cut off completely.
Before Zuckerberg shuts us down.
Zuckerberg's going to shut us down, dude. What are you doing?
Christian, question from friends. Have you ever washed your dinghy in a public bathroom?
No. Daggone it. Next question.
We're having too much fun.
If Mark Perry had stayed at 74 in 2007, what does Ben see as the score in the finals? Or does Perry lose to Gavin in the semis?
Why do you guys always do these ones to me? I hate these type of questions.
Why do you hate them? Well, I'm glad I asked it now.
Why? Because, I only like to, if we can somehow get an answer on it, then it's okay. Let's talk about it and let's go do it, right? Let's talk about it and then let's back up the talk. But in these situations, like me wrestling Ed Ruth, it's like, well, I have ideas in my head of what would have happened, but I can't prove it. So I don't want to say. So when it's me, I don't like saying I could do this unless I could actually prove I could do this,
Okay. So well, then wrestle Mark Perry. It's very simple.
Just say you would have pinned him.
Just say you would pin him in a tilt, and we can move on.
I never tilted anyone. Tilts are a waste of time.
You
can't pin anyone.
He's like the most prolific tilter of all time.
He pins people in tilts sometimes.
He pinned Malik Heinzelman in a tilt.
He just bar everyone and pin them.
Well, simple enough. There you go.
Do you know they're painting our building?
Oh my gosh. We're getting painted right as we speak. I don't know.
What? What do you mean?
They're painting outside, like the very front of our building is getting painted. I wonder why there was a ladder against our door. All right, unrelated. Bracky's distracting us. Sorry. All right, so you say you would pin him in a tilt. All right, got it.
You said it.
Yeah, those were your words,
If it would be a pin, it would be a cradle. I would tilt or waste of time. I would cradle him.
Okay.
All right.
Do you think the NCAA will become like the senior level where top people only compete a few times each year?
I hope not. I think that'd be dumb.
I think it's terrible. I think it's one of the reasons. I think it's one of the, everyone knows. This is my favorite thing. Everyone knows why wrestling is held back, or everyone thinks their thing is the reason that this is why we're not whatever we are as a sport. But I really do believe that one of the things that holds back wrestling is that the pinnacle of our sport, we do not see the athletes compete consistently. We see
we're not. You're talking about the senior level, not the NCAAs, correct?
Yeah, and that's why. Conversely, NCAA wrestling, which is inarguably an inferior. I don't want to say inferior, but I already did. But they're not as good as the senior level guys yet at that point.
Fair. I mean, I don't know how they could even argue that point.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Okay, so but it's more popular because one, there's a lot of reasons for that. One, you have the teams, you have the college, you have the the tie there. But from November 1 to the end of March, basically every weekend, or you can watch wrestling. You can watch these guys compete, and you'll watch a wrestler compete 30 to 40 times every single year. Whereas international, you might catch Sadulayev at Euros and maybe at Nationals if they make him wrestle, and Worlds, and that's it. And he's the best of the best of the best. Imagine if you only got to see LeBron James play basketball 3 times a year. That would be insane and unthinkable. And the NBA would not be where it is today if its stars were not visible. So it does hold it back, and I hope the NCAA is not like that, though I think this year we're going to see limited schedules, fewer matches, and I don't think that makes it. And even still, with the NCAA reducing and all that, it won't be. You won't as scarcely view these athletes like you will at the senior level. You'll still see them more than you would otherwise.
Yeah, I agree fully with everything that you said. That if tennis, I think tennis and golf as individual sports are probably more comparable to wrestling than, say, a basketball, baseball, or football, or MMA for that extent. And I think one of the things that MMA fighters that holds them back is they don't show up to work all that often, and there's a reason for that. It's a very difficult sport. But the ones who do show up a lot, the ones who are there frequently, generally gain a huge amount of popularity. And golf and tennis, I don't think they would be where they are right. If like you said, Tiger Woods only played twice a year, or I don't know who some good tennis players are, but they only played once, twice a year. It would definitely hurt their ratings. It would hurt their product. And I hope at some point we see some type of system where, at minimum, we're seeing these best guys 6 to 8 times a year. And we have some type of schedule where we know when to expect them. That kind of thing.
Yes. Joseph Floyd at Tropic Spaghetti. Who can make a Pletcher-like jump from really good to elite? Jacob Warner and Caleb Young are 2 that come to mind if they just opened up. Joseph Floyd, clearly an Iowa fan, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might have a little bit of bias there.
Well, clearly, but we all have bias.
Well, I would say obviously it's a jump that you don't really see coming. So I would have not guessed Luke Pletcher was going to be that good this year. I would have said he could contend for high AA, but how good he got, I did not see that coming. Man, I'm about to think, because again, it's something you don't see coming, so it's not like an easy pick. Who would you guys pick?
If they would just open up, man. Chad Redd is a guy that I feel like could attack a lot more. If he attacked a lot more, he's really, because he's got it defensively, like Pletcher always did. He's pretty good on top. He can really counter. He has good leg attacks. He's just not the most consistent attacker. And he was having a really good year. He gave Nick Lee a really tough Big Ten match. So he had a fine season. But I think he would be one. Who else are you just attack? You would do better. Young and Warner do fit that description.
Okay, so are we strictly saying that is a guy has to be a guy who wasn't as offensive and then gets more offensive, or can we say anyone who we think for any reason he could make a fairly large jump?
I think that it's the jump.
Okay. One guy, I guess I'm kind of just peeking through the rankings right now. One guy who I think has great skills, and it's not because they don't open up, but I would say probably lifestyle habits. And this is from what I hear through rumors, obviously, is Ja'Cory Teamer. I think he shows flashes of brilliance. He has some great skills. But he had a few losses that weren't all that great, earlier last year.
Yes, I would say I could see. I was kind of saying this all last year, and we didn't get to really see what was going to happen at NCAAs, but I'm kind of always on the Kennedy Monday train. Even sometimes he tech falls Dave McFadden. Sometimes he gets pinned in the first period by, I think it was Hartman.
Yep.
So I don't know, but he's definitely one that I could see making a jump in perception wise, at least. And that would not be because he started attacking more, because he is a volume shooter. He attacks a ton.
What about Ben Darmstadt can make a jump if he's taking these stupid losses like Brandon Whitman?
That doesn't count, dude. That doesn't count.
Why doesn't it count?
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Okay.
Cameron Caffey's a guy that he kind of does a lot with his defense and not attacking. If he had a really consistent attack. So those are a few guys. Those are a few guys I could see.
I'm trying to pick through the rankings again, because again, I feel like when they said Luke Pletcher, you'd pick someone who was good but then made a huge jump, and I feel like you can't pick, say, Hunter Bowen or Trent Hidley because they were kind of right at the top of the pack. So you kind of got to take that next tier down. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, Cordell Norfleet if he put it all together, I mean, he's another one. I have kind of blind spots for guys, Darmstadt and Cade Brock, Cordell Norfleet's definitely one of those guys. But it's also true. I will say it is also true. And I was talking with I won't say who because they'll be like, why? But talking with the coach, and they're like, yeah, this guy, he's got it all. If he can put it together, this was not Arizona.
Chris Pendleton.
Huh? No, wasn't
Chris Pendleton.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, I got a good one.
Although I'm sure Chris Pendleton would probably agree with that. Yes.
Ridge Lovett. He does some really, really good things. I think he has a hole or two in his game where, and so for me, that's a really good go-to attack. If he had one good go-to attack, I think he'd be really hard to beat because he keeps a great pace. He's good defensively, great, really solid on top, really solid on bottom. So I think that's kind of a guy who, if he shored up that one opening, that he could make a jump from like that, say that 8 to 12 range up to the top of the pack.
Yes, I could see that. Ridge Lovett, super good. Okay. Who has the most?
Look at that.
What?
I'm getting breakfast delivered. You want to say? You can't hit the cord, Alex, but if you want to say hi, you can say hi.
Who is that?
Bill. That's Alex. Don't hit the cord. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey. Good to see ya. Thanks for breakfast.
All right, go. Don't kick the cord. All right. I got breakfast delivered, Christian. Take that.
Where you guys at?
Racky's only got Monsters. I actually don't I don't like breakfast that much, but
Monster.
Is that Casey's breakfast pizza?
Chocolate chip pancakes, apparently.
Oh my gosh. He's just gonna go right
eating,
in. All right, why don't you just eat? Well, I'll give you a couple minutes, finish your breakfast, and we can continue the questions at a later time.
I'm multitasking. My wife actually really hates the fact that I'm okay with talking with food in my mouth. So we'll see how much you hate it, Christian.
My son yesterday. Okay, so basically all meals are for my son is a way for him to get to dessert. So he's eating grilled chicken. Yeah. So he's eating grilled chicken, and for some reason little kids think, all right, I'll just put it all in my mouth at the same time. So he has this giant chaw of chicken in his cheek. It sticks out. It looks like he's got a huge thing of tobacco, but he also wants to talk like Ben Askren. And so,
smart also.
Because my parents are here still. He wants to talk all the time, and he's got chicken flying all over the place. It's not a great habit. But yeah, he's like, I'm like, Caleb, stop talking with your mouth full. He's like, I put it all on the side, so it's fine. I'm like, all right.
Yes, go Caleb.
Yeah, don't. I hope he's not listening.
How about Tracy Pyle's haircut though?
Yeah, he looks sharp. Hey, I'll have a. You said I'm not even gonna spoil the surprise. I'll just show you tomorrow. I'll have a picture for you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Please tell me you got a T-shirt that says Tracy Pyles is a savage.
Freaking savage. Yes. So, okay, I think we can go. Other than someone wants you to show off your disc golf course. Would
I
you
can do it on the show outside.
Right now? No, maybe make a video, a quick tour at some point.
If Flo comes to see me, we can do it. No, I did a YouTube video. There's a couple YouTube videos.
Okay, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Ben Askren's.
I want to have a name pronunciation contest between Ben and Sion.
Yeah.
Like Perrysburg Wrestling asked.
I'll kill him. I'll whoop Sion in that.
Yeah, you take him out. You take him out for
Just as long as Devin Schroeder's not on the list.
Yeah, if we get Devin Schrader on there, I don't know what he's going to say. Ben Askren, thank you.
Hidley.
Well, listen,
I don't know.
I'll give anyone a pass for Hidley.
Yeah, that one. That one's tough.
It's tough because literally it goes against everything we ever learned about phonics. But the Hidleys can beat us up, so we'll just say it however they want, and that's fine with me. Oh, thanks so much for listening. 503 down. We'll be back tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Ben Askren, Kyle Brackham, Christian Pyles. Thank you. See you next time.